Hi creatives, I am Dima and you're welcome to another interesting sewing tutorial. The pattern drafting of this beautiful dress was done in the last tutorial, so this is strictly a sewing tutorial. Check the link in the description for the pattern drafting tutorial. Let's get right into it. To put this together, this is all I have and we drafted it in the last tutorial. I'm just going ahead to put the notches. That is the notches for the bust points. Just as you can see in this video, I made the lower parts with Mikado silk and the upper parts with Ankara. I used a total of 3 yards Ankara and 2 yards of Mikado silk for this very dress. I also used 2 in the process, yes. So this is the back and I used hairstay all over the back as interfacing, just as you can see. And for the front, I used hairstay as well all over the Mikado silk part, just as you can see right here as well. Aside what I'm saying, just watch closely and you will understand everything I am doing. This is just about putting this whole dress together. Check the link in the description for the pattern drafting tutorial. So right here I have the cups. It's just 2 cups styling. I didn't make it 3 cups. So you can see what I have here. I'm just trimming off excess wadding. What I used here is light wadding. Okay, and for the lining I used thick wadding. So do the same when you're doing yours to get exactly the results that I got. So having said that, you can see that I did not get it to the neckline. You can see that. That is to ensure that after turning it up with the lining, everything will relax. So this wadding is a thick one. That is the one on the lining, and the one on the fabric is a light wadding. So I'll go ahead and start putting all of this together. So having said all, you can see what I have here. I'll go ahead and cut the yoke. Yes, I've already cut the yoke, and this was done in the last tutorial. So this is the yoke for the front and the back, as you can see. So I'll just keep aside the remaining part of the tulle. The yoke is cut with a tulle fabric. So this is the lining and I've gone ahead to stitch it together. I ensure that I followed the notches to put all of this together. So this is what I have. After that, I'm just trimming off any piece of thread, which is very important after each stitch so that your work will come out really neat and nice. So having done this, you can see what I have already here. And you can see that the wadding did not get to the neckline. Now this is what I've stitched so far for the fabric parts. I'll go ahead and attach the cups to this, okay? So I'll go ahead and follow the notch I followed on the bust line on the lower part of the dress, and I'm going to stitch it one side after another, and after that we go ahead and turn it with the lining. So this is what I have after putting all of that together. You can see that I used hairstay to iron down the seam allowance just to make it relax really nicely. So I'm notching the under bust so that everything will be seamless and beautiful. If you like, you can stitch down that under bust and pass through it on the under bra wire. Yeah, if you want it to be more structured under the cups, you can actually stitch it down that so that it will make a channel where the under bra wire can pass through. Okay, you can get this readily in sewing shops. So after doing that, you place this like this, lining on top of the fabric, the dress proper, and stitch it all through. So after stitching, you will notch and top stitch and then iron. That is very, very important. So I have to say here that if you want your dress to have boning, this is the time to put it on the lining. Yes, you can put line of boning following the style lines. Place your boning really nicely to give it more structure. But mine, I just wanted to have the shape of bust curve and cupped corset, but without all of those bonings. But if this is what you want, feel free to put it and it will make your dress to be more structured. Okay, so after doing all of this, you can see what it looks like. I'll go ahead and iron really nicely before I proceed to placing the net on top of this. So after all of this, you can see what we have. You can see what it looks like. So you go ahead and hold it really nicely like this. So I really like doing this. I hold it like this and more like tack it down. Yeah, I can still use machine. You can use your machine and hold your seam allowance for the lining and the fabric together like this and stitch it down, right? So when you're done with that, it will really make your cups to sit really nicely. Even if you caged the bust, this has a way of making your bust cups to really sit very well. Okay, so that is what I did just right there, and I'll go ahead and place the tool for that is the yoke. So what I have here is the yoke, just as you can see, and the next thing to do is to go ahead and stitch it down. Just place it like this and stitch the neckline. After stitching the neckline, you can see that I used ½ inch to stitch it. I'm going to trim it to about ¼ inch. Okay, if you can manage 1/8 inch, go ahead and use that. So right here you can see what I have. I've already trimmed it off and then turned it inside out. Then the next is to iron it really nice so that it will be very smooth like this. Then I stitched it all around, okay, along where I'll be using to attach to the cloth. So that is what I did. So I'll just place it really nicely and use my dressmaking pins and pin it down really well the way it is supposed to be. So after pinning it down, I had to go ahead and stitch it down and it came out really nice. Now the next is to go ahead and stitch the dart on the back part. As you can see, I've stitched the dart on the fabric and I will do the same for the lining. So after that, we will be attaching the yoke for the back. Besides what I am saying, just pay close attention to what I'm doing and you will understand every step I took to put this lovely dress together. So this is the back yoke that we have here. I've stitched along the neckline with ½ inch and I'm trimming it again to about ¼ inch. Feel free to make it 1/8 inch if you can manage that, but if you can't, quarter is really fine. So after trimming it, I'll turn it inside out and then iron just as I did with the front yoke. So what I have here, you can see the measurements I have here, 4:2, and I'm using it to, make the loops for the button. So this is how you're going to fold it and stitch it down, okay? And this is what is going to form the loops for the back yoke. So right here you can see the back yoke, and I will go ahead and form the loops on the back yoke, okay? So this is how I am going to fold it. So I had to shorten this, it was 4 inches. I had to shorten it to about 2.5 inches. Okay. So after that, you fold it in like this, place it. You're going to open it up like this, fold it up like this, place it like so, and stitch it down, flip it over and stitch down there. If you want to have more than one loops on yours, you're free to do that. And this is the stage you're going to place, put all of your yoke. I'll also stitch here close, okay, and turn it inside out, and of course iron. So after doing all of that, this is what I have. Yes, so I'll be putting my button here so that the loop will just hang on the button in place. So right here is when I am placing the back the way it's supposed to be. So I'm just checking, okay, is the button side here or there? Yeah, I'm just making sure that each of them are placed where they are supposed to be. So having done that, I am going to ensure that the yoke matches the zipper allowance, if you are seeing what I am doing there. So this is how to place it and stitch it down. And after that, I'll place my lining like this and stitch it down as well. I will notch and top stitch, and of course iron. And this is what I have. So this is what I have after stitching it all down. I'll go ahead and serge so you can see what it looks like. I'll go ahead and serge all of that space. I don't want to do all inseam. I didn't have all of the time. This is my dress and I was supposed to wear this dress the next day, so I just had to conclude it. And that is why I did not put the surface pleat on this. I didn't plan to put it actually. I just wanted to make the main body of the dress because I really liked how it looked. So after all of that, this is what I have. I've put the zipper. Of course, stone zip is what I used for this, project. So this is how I placed it, and I'm going to close up using my exact measurements. Okay, I will also close up the shoulder just the way you can see me do. Okay, flip it over like this and sandwich the front in between the back yokes. So yeah, after that I'll close up the two sides, and this is what I have. After closing it up, you can see what it looks like. The length here is 34 inches. That is what I used as the length of the gown. Yeah. From the previous tutorial, I showed that I went up in that along that center front by 4 inches. Okay. Maxi dress is 62 inches. So the remaining length will be 62 minus 34, which is the length of this gown that you can see right here. But the final gown length is 62 inches. So I have 34 here. So the remaining is 62 minus 34, which is about 28 inches. Okay. So yeah. So having said that, I'll go ahead and make the pattern for the lower part. Please pay close attention because you don't cut this the regular way you cut your just a straight piece of flannel. So right here, I have to take the measurement that I need, which is about 28. So I marked it right there. So I added 4 inches, which gave me 32 inches. Okay, 32 because I went up at center front by 4 inches and curved it up. Please don't be confused. You just need to watch the pattern drafting tutorial of the upper side to know what I did to go up on that center front. Okay, so what I have here is 32, which is 28 plus 4 inches. So right here, I had to measure what I got for the front. Okay, what I got from that front knee line now divided by 2, that is what I am measuring right here. So I'm going to draw a straight vertical line to meet the lower part of this. Okay, so having done that, I'll go ahead and cut out this box, rectangular box. Okay, so when I cut it out, watch what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to measure 4 inches like this, and I am going to use my pattern master to curve it like this. Now this is necessary for the front and it is definitely not useful for the back, but pay close attention to see how I used the same paper to make the front and the back. Now I drew a straight line, and this straight line is for the back because the back is not curved up, it's just straight up on that level of 34 inches, if that makes sense. So I'm folding it in. I'm folding in this curved part in because that is for the front part, and I'm going to use just 28 inches for the back. So I'll go ahead and bring my fabric, the Ankara fabric, the remaining Ankara fabric I used for 3 yards of Ankara for this project and 2 yards of Mikado silk. I didn't finish the 2 yards Mikado. I used about 1 yard and a little more, a few inches, maybe 10 inches. So what I'm doing here is to measure to ensure that it is enough for what I want to use it for. So having done this, you can see how I folded it in. So I have to go ahead and cut through like this. So that is why I took that measurement there, to ensure that the lower part is up to 28 inches or a little over. Yes, it's supposed to be at least 2 inches more than the length that you desire. Yeah, because of the hemming allowance and seam allowances. So having done this, you can see what I have here. I had to slash this fabric into 2, right? So that one side will be for the back and one side will be for the front. And the length I have here is definitely about 34 inches thereabouts. Okay, so yeah, I folded this in for the back, and I am going to just move away from the center back. I'm just going to push this away from the center back. Yeah, that is what I'm going to do, and just cut out. So you can use your dressmaking pins to pin this paper down, but I just use my pattern master to place on the paper so that it stays in place while I cut. So you can see that I made a little A as I am cutting this, just a little bit of A. From up to down, you can see that it's not just equal, right? You can make yours to be equal, but I just wanted that A-like kind of shape towards the lower part. That is the hem part of the dress. So what I'm adding right here is just the allowance. I'm just putting extra allowance about 2 inches for the hem, about 1.5 for the hem. That is 1 inch for the lower hem, and of course ½ inch for the upper part. That is attaching this very ankara to the mikado part of this dress. So this is all for the back, and I will go ahead and fold up the fabric the same way I did for the back. I'll do the same for the front, but before then I will go ahead and make slash lines for this front. You can see that I have unfolded that curved upper part that I folded earlier. Okay, after that, just mark your style lines just as you can see me do. I just added 2 style lines to this paper. Feel free to add up to 3. Of course, you can make it up to 4 if you have enough fabric to like slash and spread all of that, because the more the fabric, the fuller the gather, you know that. So after that, I am going to slash all of these slash lines open, and then I'll go ahead and spread. So I just had to make do with what I have. But yes, if I had more fabrics, I would have made this to be fuller than it is appearing right here. So you can see how I'm placing this and ensuring that the hem part of this is really equal, because that is the best way to know this part. That's the best way to know if you have placed it equally. The hem have to be equal. So having done that, this is how I trimmed it, and then I had to position it really nicely. Truthfully, I did not measure the space between the slashes and spreading. I did not measure because I did not measure all of that spread, but it's about 3 inches. I just had to make do with the quantity of fabric that I had. But if you have more than this, as I said, generally I use 3 yards to make this dress. So you can see how I blended the lines, and I am cutting it out. That is how you're going to do yours. Ensure that you blend that curve really nicely, and I'm also trying to make a sort of A, just as I did for the front part. I'm doing the same thing for the back. So after doing that, this is what I have. I'll go ahead and remove the papers and then start stitching this all together. So I'll just stitch the front and back together, and also do the same for the lining. So you can see that I have cut the lining right here. I cut the lining exactly the same way I cut the fabric. That is what I did. But at the end of the day, I'll just shorten the lining length. Okay, I have shortened it already by about 2 inches or 3 inches. Yes, you can see that the lining is shorter by about 3 inches. So that is the difference between the fabric and the lining. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch them together just as you can see me do right here. So pay close attention to see the sewing technique I used here. So what I did here was just to true it and ensure that the lining is exactly the same with the fabric. I don't need any of them to be bigger than the other. And after that, I'll place this like this and stitch it fabric to fabric, and of course lining to lining. That is what I'm going to do. I'll do it in a way that the lining will cover up the rough edges of the fabric part. So you can see here I've joined it together all through at the beginning parts, and this is how I am going to join it to the fabric, yes, forming a gather. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to place it like this. Okay, I already have notch at the center front there, and I'm going to gather it equally. If you cannot guide your gather really nicely, you can go ahead and form the gather first and then ensure it matches before you stitch down. So that is all I did, and I'm going to go ahead and attach the sleeve. If you don't know how to make a basic sleeve, I'll put the link in the description. And after putting all of that together, this is what I got, and I hope and know that you love it. Are you going to try it? Do well to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell to be the first to know when I upload. I'll see you in my next one. Love you all, and bye.